Okay, there we go. And we're live on YouTube. So if you guys check out our YouTube channel, you'll see right here, this is our live recording right here. So make sure you check us out on YouTube. Again, if you haven't done that yet. We're also live on Instagram. We're live on Facebook and a bunch of other things. So there's a bunch of different ways that you guys can follow us and that sort of thing. All right. Cool. All right. So you guys ready to get started? Awesome. Okay, so let me clear this up a bit here. Okay, so today what we're going to talk about, as I mentioned, is we're going to go over how to run your first algorithm, specifically using Render, which is a brand new software that we're using. We've made things quite easy for you to run an algorithm. So really, it's just kind of clicking a button and filling in some blanks. That's about it, really. Okay. Before we get started, here's our disclaimer. Make sure you read it. Typical finance stuff. All right. And then here's our agenda for today. So first, going to talk a little bit about our algorithms, some different options that you guys have. I'm also going to show you some of these things, how they're doing, actually. Let's see if I can pull that up here. Yeah, there we go. We're going to walk you through some of our algorithms, how they've been performing, a lot of our research, our back tests, that sort of thing. Then we're going to talk about Alpaca, the broker. That's who we're going to use right now to connect. But there's a bunch of other brokers you could use. You could use Tradier. You could use Interactive Brokers. We're working on a Schwab integration. There's a bunch of different brokers that you can use. We're just using Alpaca because they're really just the easiest to get up and running. And they're very good with algorithm trading. They're basically like Robinhood for algorithms. They have free trades and all that kind of stuff. Right? So we'll talk about Alpaca. Then we'll talk about GitHub. Right? If you guys don't have access to GitHub, that is something that is part of our plans. Our starter, pro, and all access plan, you have access to our full GitHub, but I'll show you basically a free one that you could use if you just kind of want to see what this process looks like. Right. And then we're going to talk about Render, how to specifically use Render, and then we're going to talk about next steps. Right. Okay. So here are some notes before we get started. First of all, if you want to see some of our plans, you can see them at lumiwealth.com. Here is the link. I've shared that inside the chat. Right, basically you'd go to lumiwealth.com, LUMIWEALTH. And when you go on LumiWealth, you will be able to see essentially all of our plans here. Right, if actually a lot more stuff too. If you want, you can go through and see some of our bots, our back tests, those types of things. You can sign up to our newsletter. But if you keep scrolling down, you'll see basically all of our different plans here. There's a starter, our pro plan, and our all access plan. They're all a little bit different in what you get. And we will talk about that a little bit more by the end, and you'll understand better basically what you get with each one of these different plans. All right. Okay, cool. All right, so let's go back down here. Okay, we'll tell you more about the plans at the end, and make sure you stay to the end. We also have a discount coupon code for you as well if you stick around to the end of the presentation. All right. Okay, cool. So let's jump into it. Okay, so here, let me show you guys some of our algorithms. Okay, so we've spent the better part of about 5 years developing a lot of different algorithms. We've been teaching people how to build algorithms, and we've actually created quite a few of our own now because of the way that we are structured. We actually have a lot of innovation happening, and we have a lot of new algorithms constantly being built. All right, so let me show you a couple of them. All right, here's and again, we have probably 100 different algorithms to choose from if you join one of our plans. But here's just a nice little sample so you can see, kind of what's available. All right. Okay, so let's start off with one of new ones that we created. So this is a new one that we created recently. Maybe about 3 weeks ago, we created this one. Just because, it's one of those things I think a lot of people find very interesting. But essentially what this does is it follows members of Congress. If you weren't aware, you can actually get a lot of Congress members' trades. If you go search for Congress trading, there's a bunch of different ones that show it. So for example, let's say we go to capitaltrades.com, you can actually go in here and you can see what each politician is trading, what they're holding, and all that. So let's say we go here, we can see Marjorie Taylor Greene did a bunch of purchases here recently. She bought some Tesla, Visa, Microsoft, Intel, etc. You can see this guy, show more. Rick Allen bought Schwab or sold Schwab recently. You can see the buys and the sells. You can see the approximate amount that they bought and sold, and etc. Right. So why would you care what a Congress member purchases? Well, essentially, because they perform really damn well. If you've ever actually looked at the performance figures of Congress members versus average people, they significantly outperform, or at least a bunch of them significantly outperform the average investor. I've seen something like Nancy Pelosi's portfolio, I think, has gone something like 100% a year for the past few years. Very, very good results. And you got to think to yourself, these members of Congress, do they know something that you don't know? Right? They are not only people that are privy to information that we don't have, so it's possible for them to do insider trading and that sort of thing. But not only that, they actually have the power to change laws. So if a Congress member is holding on to a certain stock and a bill is passed across the board and saying, should we ban this thing or make this thing better or whatever, you better believe that Congress member is going to be highly influenced by what they own in their portfolio to actually vote on that law. Right. And there's a lot of studies on this if you want to go through them. Here's one example. We created this Nancy Pelosi following bot here. Basically is constantly looking at what she's trading. All of members of Congress trades are made public by law. That's something that was signed into law, I believe, by Obama a little while ago, the Stocks Act. So you can actually follow exactly what she's trading. Right. So you can see here, very nice outperformance with the S&P 500. In the blue, we have our strategy that's following her. In the yellow, we have the S&P 500, and you can see she is just absolutely dominating the S&P 500. I believe almost double the returns of the S&P 500, pretty close to it over this time period from 2019 to 2024, right to the end of this year. So definitely have some very interesting results from that. So if you guys want to join one of our plans, you could actually get this bot and you can run it. So, and if you are a member of our plan, actually, I see a couple people here that are, you can actually run this right now, and you could follow basically what we're going through in this session, and you can basically get this set up and actually run this right now and have the Congress following bot working for you within the next couple minutes. Right. Here's another bot. So we have one that follows Nancy Pelosi. Another really interesting one is a Congress member named Mark Green. This guy, and actually you can modify this bot to basically follow any members of Congress if you'd like. But essentially this guy, Mark Green, he's one of the very interesting ones. We went through and actually researched a lot of these politicians, and we said which ones are actually having the best results. This guy was right up at the top of the list, Mark Green. He's a Republican from Texas. And we thought, he owns a lot of oil stocks. We're thinking maybe he was on the board of some sort of approvals or something like that. He is not, but he is a damn good picker of stocks for oil companies. Here is basically the performance of his strategy, just following him over the past few years. You can see here, basically, he didn't even see any bear market at all, right? The S&P 500 was in a bear market for the better part of a year. If you're following Mark Green, what bear market? Just basically going up straight. Very nice return here. About a 20% per year average annual return is what we calculated using this strategy, and very modest drawdowns. So very, very good results here from following Mark Green as well. Okay, so again, if you guys want to run this today, these are available to you. If you're one of our plan members, you could actually run these right now. All right. Another bot that we've had around for quite some time. Oh, and by the way, I can show you how some of these have been performing. We've been running the Pelosi bot for a couple of days now, since we created it on October 4th, and it's up about 4% so far since we did that bot, right? That's a Pelosi bot. Okay, here is another bot that we've been using for quite some time. I actually have a couple $1,000 in this algorithm as well. This one we've had around since I think probably about 2 years ago almost, that we started running it, and we actually created it a little bit before that. But here's one that we call diversified leverage. Basically, what it does is it invests in a bunch of leveraged ETFs and follows roughly the principle of Ray Dalio. If you haven't heard of Ray Dalio, he's one of the richest people on earth. He's at the top of the Forbes list. He runs, I think, the most successful hedge fund of all time, if you're counting how much assets that they're running. Basically, we are following his principle, which is this thing called all-weather portfolio. You want to diversify yourself in all different situations. So if you're in a high growth and low inflation environment, stocks are probably going to do very well. Bonds will probably do pretty well too. If you're in a high inflation environment, you're probably not going to see bonds doing very well. If you're in a low growth environment, you probably won't see stocks doing very well. So if you own stocks, gold, commodities, and bonds, and he has a specific ratio for them, then you could actually avoid a lot of these losses, right? This is basically what his hedge fund is based off of. He actually has a hedge fund called the all-weather portfolio that is available to institutional investors. And what we thought is, you know what if we took that concept, but instead of just buying, gold, bonds, all that kind of stuff, what if we bought instead the leveraged versions of them? So something like, for example, a TQQQ. If you've never seen this ticker before, it has some wild results. Here's basically this is the NASDAQ, right? So the QQQ, but triple leveraged. If you take a look at how this thing's performed over quite a long time period, let's say we compare this to just the QQQ, which has done quite well as well, it basically completely dwarfs it. It makes it look like the the QQQ basically did absolutely nothing, and it's one of the best performing stock markets in the world. Maybe the best performing. Period. The TQQQ made about 16,000% return since it started, which was when it's not even a fair comparison because it started around here in 2010, right? So we're comparing actually even more time for the QQQ than the triple leveraged one, right? But even with less years, it's still up 16,000% over the past, let's say 14, 15 years, whereas the QQQ is only up about 800%. So really, really significant outperformance. However, the problem is they see these big drawdowns, right? Imagine if you invested right here, that would be quite a catastrophe losing that much money. It basically would have gone from 20,000% up down to 5% down. So something like a 75% loss, which I don't know about you. That is not something I'm very comfortable with. So instead, what we did was we basically combined these into this all-weather portfolio where we were able to get some diversification benefit from owning a bunch of other things. And we're able to get a 29% average annual return, or about a 4,000% return according to our back test since 2010. So something like a 15-year return, 4,000%. I'd say that's a pretty good start. All right, so that's our diversified leverage algorithm. These are basically all stock trading algorithms so far. I'll give you one more stock trading algorithm, and I'll show you some of our other stuff that we trade options as well. Here's another bot that is actually very interesting. This is our Alpha Picks bot. Okay, if you're not familiar with Alpha Picks, it's basically a product by Seeking Alpha, which is quite a popular financial destination, right? Where you can read about different financial topics. People basically create blogs on there. And they've been basically giving essentially stock picks for, what was this, about 2 years, a little longer than 2 years. They started in, this is, I think, 2022, July. So a little over 2 years now. And they have done really, really well. I can tell you this because I've actually been listening to their picks for a while. One of the picks that I put money into is a company called Modine Manufacturing. When it came out, I had no idea what they're doing, but these guys suggested it. I'm like, you know what? Let's throw some money into it. Put about $15,000 or $20,000 into it. That is now up almost $100,000 on that one single pick alone. I made $100,000 USD. There's another one that they picked recently, Powell, which is also doing extremely well. I think that one's up some like 350 or 400%. So some incredibly good picks. Personally, I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars on the picks, on these picks already. So we decided, why don't we automate this? Right. So we basically said, when they give out these picks, you would actually have to buy it yourself. That's quite a bit of time to do that. You could forget things. There's actually one that I specifically missed. They recommended SMCI back in the day. I don't know if you guys have watched that company, but that thing was one of the best performers in the stock market over, was it this year or last year? It was up like 1,000%. I missed that because I did not have a bot running, right? Because they told me, make this pick. I didn't have the time. I was busy. And then I missed out on 1,000% gain. It could have made me over $100,000 easily, right? So what we did was we automated it, right? So this thing now will look at Seeking Alpha and will automatically buy these picks that they're sending us, right? So they've performed quite well with just their picks. It's the S&P 500 over this time period did about 54%. Alpha picks over this time period did about triple that, 150%, right? So we're talking about triple returns over a 2-year time period. You think about that with compounding, it could have some really, really high, really big repercussions, right? So what we did is we created the Seeking Alpha bot, and we've actually been running it, but we actually even did a twist on it. So here is the Seeking Alpha bot. It's been running since October 20 or August 20th. It's up 3.5% since August 20th, which is not bad. I believe that's beating the stock market. But with these guys, they actually give us even strong. They give us like a rating, right? They say hold, strong buy, or buy, right? So basically, are they saying that we should buy this thing or saying we should hold this thing? They update those things on a regular basis. So we decided, you know what? Why don't we make 3 different versions of it, right? Here's one that basically just follows our whole portfolio. So since August 20th, it's up 3.5%. If you follow only the buy and the strong buy, it's up even more. It's up almost 8% since August 20th. And the biggest performer is if you just only listen to their strong buy picks. They have a list of them. They say buy or strong buy or whatever. If you only listen to the strong buy picks, it's a smaller group of stocks. It's performed incredibly well. So here's since August 20th. So what is that? That's 2 months, up 12%. That's what the stock market normally does an entire year. It's up that much in 2 months. Very strong outperformance for the stock market. Absolutely crushing the market right now. I can only see. Be very interested to see how this thing actually does going forward even further. It's only been 2 months. It's already up 12%. I'm very excited to see what this thing does over the next year, because if it's anything like their alpha picks portfolio in general, and if it outperforms to that level, I wouldn't be surprised if the thing could double in a year or something like that. That would be pretty crazy, but I don't think would be totally off the table. So very interesting new bot. This is our Seeking Alpha bot that is quite a nice performer. This is actually, and personally, I have about $10,000 in this bot that I've been running so far. I'm playing it, and so far that's up about 4% since I put it in a couple weeks ago. I'm planning to move another $100,000 into this bot personally, right? At least 100,000. We'll probably put even more than 100K into this, because this is one that can scale quite well. It's a stock picking bot. It's actually a very, very, very interesting bot with a great performance record. Cool. So those have been our stock picking bots, right? You've seen a few here: following Congress members, trading ETFs, using basically another service that's telling us what to buy. But we've also been creating some really, really crazy options trading bots. So here's a couple options trading bots. Here's one that we created a little while ago that we call EMA spreads. And this is one specific configuration of it. SPY2 is what we call it, because it trades SPY. And basically what this thing does is it looks at a few different indicators. It's going to look at the VIX. It's going to look at the EMAs, and there's one EMA above another. So we're trying to figure out which direction the market's going in. And then based on those criteria and a few others, it's going to say, should we be going long in options or going short, right? And the way that it goes long is it will buy something called a spread. If you guys have never seen a spread, this is what a call spread looks like, right? Basically, it's buying a call option. It's buying a call option pretty close to the money, and then it's selling another one further out of the money. So to basically reduce your risk and to make this transaction a lot cheaper. What we did is we did some research on this, how to go just a call option versus doing a spread. We got really like way better results running spreads than we did with just buying call options alone. So definitely a really good thing to do here in terms of buying an asset if you think it's going to go up, right? It's buying a call spread. So it will buy a call spread if we think that the market's going to go up, meaning that the VIX is low, meaning that we're seeing the market trending up and that we have a few of our indicators basically saying that. It will buy the calls. And then if we think that the market's going to trend down, it could also buy put options as well to bet on the market going down. So this could potentially be a very market neutral type of strategy. And this is essentially what we got here. We back tested it since 2021 all the way up until today, and we get about an 83% a year annualized return. Not too shabby, basically almost doubling its money every single year. With a very modest drawdown. The biggest drawdown, if you guys don't know what a drawdown is, it's basically the worst possible drop that it had, or the worst drop that it did have, according to this back test, much less than the stock market. The stock market over this time period had a drawdown of about 30-something%. This thing had a lower drawdown and a significantly higher return than the stock market per year. In total, it was up 622% from June 2021. So I'd say it's a pretty damn good result there. Okay. And again, if you guys want to run this with real money, or if you want to run this right now, if you're part of one of our plans, you could actually just go into GitHub and run it right now. It's available to you. Okay, so it's our options EMA spreads. Then we also have another version of it. This is one that basically trades a few assets at a time, whereas this one first was only trading SPY. We made another version of it that trades 3 different assets at the same time, which is SPY, IWM, and GLD. So basically the S&P 500, the Russell 2000, and gold. And basically you'll figure out when should be investing in each one. Each of them have their own indicators. SPY has a volatility index called the VIX. Gold has a volatility index as well called GVIX. And then IWM has one as well for itself. And we're looking at all these indicators. And we're trying to figure out when should we be buying them, when should we be selling them, and that sort of thing. And when we ran through this, we got a really, really nice result. Basically got 73% average annual return, or 800% in total, and a max drawdown of only 23%. So significantly lower drawdown than the S&P 500 and a significantly higher return than the S&P 500. So very good in both directions there, right? And we've been running this for some time. Let me show you how this has actually been performing. So here is the SPY IWM Gold. We've been running this since September 18th, so it's been about a month now. It's up 5.5% already. Here's another one. We run this the SPY2. This one's up about 3 or almost 4% since August 28th. So far, it's basically performing the way that we'd expect it to. Here's live money. This is a real money account. I have $4,000, $4,400 in here. This one's up 11%, 11.5% almost since I put in on September 18th. So about a month, and I'm up 11%. Stock market, eat your heart out. I mean, and what's great about this is that, again, you can see these things here. They're meant to perform both in bear and bull markets, a lot of these option strategies that we have here. Okay. So that's our options EMA strategy. Another one that we have is our Iron Condor bot, and we have a lot of different versions of this one, including ones that we made last night that I'm very excited about. I'll show you that in a second because I was blown away by what we were able to figure out. But here's our Iron Condor bot. We call this version 12, SPY 12. When we ran the back test since January 2020 up until pretty recently, it did about 1,300% return, so 13 times its money, or about 77% a year. And again, a very modest drawdown of only 31%. But we do have a lot of different versions of this. Here's some new ones that I could show you. These we basically just got working. Right, so here's one that we just set up, 104% average annual return according to our back test with a pretty modest drawdown of only 34%. And someone actually even agreed, can't wait to see how this thing does. in real life. This basically, we just finished this research yesterday, and we're actually just started running them. So we'll see this one here. We got a calculated return of about 104% a year. This one, we got a calculated return of about 106% a year. And this one, we got a calculated return of about 146% a year. So some pretty crazy results. We're going to see how these things perform. These are new ones. But basically, it's what we do on a regular basis. If you guys join our plans, every Tuesday, we're inventing new algorithms. We're creating new things. And you can actually take a look at these things and run them yourself. This will be available to you as well. All right. Cool. Any questions around any of our algorithms or any of the stuff that I went over? Or any questions in general? Okay, cool. All right, so let's talk about how you would actually run these things, okay? So let's say you want to run one of these algorithms. We have, like I said, lots of them. If you go into our GitHub account, and when you have access, you could see in here, we have quite a long list of different strategies. Right, here's that condor algorithm that I was telling you about, this trading iron condors, the diversified leverage strategy I showed you about, the rolling EMA spreads is here, Congress following bot is here, but we have a lot of other ones here too. This is the one with seeking alpha, alpha picks. We have a butterflies, if you guys want to trade butterflies. We have ones that do cryptos. We have a crypto grid bot, we have Bollinger Bands, we have a lot of really interesting strategies in here. Basically, you can go into any one of these strategies, and when you click into them, you're going to have a button that says you can deploy it. Right? There's a nice little render deploy button here. Okay. But what I'm going to do during this is I'm going to go in and we're going to go through one of our sample algorithms so that whether you guys are subscribers or not, you could follow along. Here is the stop example algorithm. And let me share this with you guys here so you can actually share this. So there is the GitHub link to the example algorithm. Yuri asking to get the link to the strategy library. Here's a link to our strategy library. If you are not a subscriber, you will not be able to see all these algorithms. You'll be able to basically just see the one that we have public, the example algorithm. Yeah, if you are a subscriber, Yuri, which I recognize your name, then you can actually access all of these. So whichever one you want to run, they're all available to you. And actually, just while we're on that topic, no problem, Yuri. While we're on that topic, a lot of these we've actually started to add in back tests as well. So if you actually want to see, what you're getting into potentially, you can look at obviously how they've been running in paper trading and live money. These are all the ones I have real money in. You could track all of them, and if you want to copy me, you could do that. But you can also take a look at the back tests in here. So if you go into, for example, the Condor Martingale, you can click on the back tests folder, and you can see the back tests of all the different strategies, right? Let me actually, hold on. I just realized I did not send these over yet. So added back tests. I'm going to add that in. Okay, there we go. So you can actually go through all of these here. Okay, so you can see, for example, this is one of the newer ones that we did last night. This is, I'm really excited about this one. If this does does any good in our paper trading for a little bit, I want to put some real money into this pretty quickly. I've been thinking about putting like maybe a 5K account into this because this is pretty wild. 146% here. If that actually works out, that is a crazy return. Holy crap. Basically, we'll see how it works in paper trading. Our philosophy, for those of you that have been part of our program for a while, you know this, but we'll do a lot of the research. We'll do the back tests. We'll, inspect, okay, what if we did this? What if we did that? We do a lot of research on that. Then once we're good with that, we'll run in paper trading for a while, make sure everything is working properly, that it's trading the way it's supposed to, that it's getting similar results. Sometimes you don't get a matchup, right? So that's why we definitely want to test all these things. And then once we've had them running in paper trading for a while, we're comfortable with the results, we'll throw some money into it, right? And you'll see that I have my own personal money in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bots right now. And I'm planning to put money into another 2 bots, maybe over the next week or two. And like I said, I'm going to put in probably 100 grand into the Seeking Alpha bot and a few more into these Iron Condor bots as well. All right. So yeah, so I just wanted to point that out so you can actually go through and you can see these back tests here since you are a subscriber. Cool. All right. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. No, I agree. That was when we did that back test last night. I was like, I almost fell out of my chair. I was like, holy crap! It's like not only is it a really high return, but the drawdown was actually very reasonable. We'll see how they perform. You know, I don't like counting my chickens before they hatch, but holy crap, that'll be amazing if that actually works out to be true. Again, eat your heart. And by the way, and another really good thing about this Iron Condor algorithm, if you look at it, it's meant to be market neutral. So if you take a look at this during the bear market, it was still going up. It basically is an options algorithm that bets on the market not moving. So it doesn't matter if it's going down or going up, as long as it's quiet, you're going to make quite a bit of money with these algorithms with the Iron Condor bots. So it's another really good advantage of it is that it's market neutral. It doesn't really matter which direction the stock market goes in. Cool. All right. So do you guys want to see how to set these things up? Okay. Yeah. So Yuri, if the drawdown of 31% is too much for you, you can actually modify these to be more conservative. Right. So for example, if you're looking at this one here, and since you are a subscriber, feel free to book a call with me or whatever. I can show you exactly how to do that. But you can basically tone these down, right? So 31% drawdown, you know, to some people that's okay, to other people it's not. 31% is pretty much in line with what the stock market did over that time period. But it's understandable if you think, okay, maybe that's a little too aggressive for me. You can actually tone this thing down. You can make it just buy less of these of the contracts, and you can make this instead of a 38% drawdown, it's going to be in the back test something more like a 20% or 15%. It really depends on kind of how low you want to go, and you can adjust the risk that way, right? So it is something that you can definitely customize. Cool. All right. So let's talk about your broker. Yeah, you're so you know if you want to go through a source code, just to tell you really quickly how you do it, just so you know, basically you'd go into these configurations, right? Under SRC, you see configurations. So here, for example, say SPY22 is that new one. You can modify the quantities to trade, right? That's probably the easiest way to reduce the risk. Just make it buy less of the contracts, right? So this is basically saying it's going to buy 20 contracts in a $25,000 account, but you could tone that down. You could reduce that to 10, you could reduce that to 5, and you would have a much less risky version of the bot if you want to do that. Right. So again, they are very customizable. Okay. Cool. Okay. So let's talk about your broker. Awesome, Yuri. It's great. I love your enthusiasm. It's fantastic. Cool. Okay. So let's talk about your broker. So let's set up an account with Alpaca because you're going to need to have a brokerage account in order for you to trade. If you want to trade our options algorithms, you can't use Alpaca. You're going to have to use another broker. For example, Tradier trades options. We also have interactive brokers that can trade options. You could choose one of those. Alpaca does not yet support level 3 options trading. So we have not integrated yet with their options, with the ability to trade options. So if you want to start trade crypto, you can do that with Alpaca. And that's what algorithm does. If we go back here, for example, I'm share this with you guys. It's taking a very long time for GitHub. There it is. Here's our example algorithm. This is a very simple algorithm. I believe all it does is just buy Apple or buy the S&P or something like that. Let me see here. Yeah, there's actually a few. You could buy, it buys TQQQ and SPY, right? You could buy a bunch of different things. It's a really simple algorithm. It's not meant to be something that's, going to make you a ton of money, although probably could make you some money just buying TQQQ alone. That's not financial advice, but definitely, a pretty simple algorithm. Basically just buy so that way you can see this thing actually function, right? This is meant to be just an example rather than something that is a high performing bot like our other ones. Okay, so let me share that link with you guys if you want to follow along, just so you can see basically how this thing goes, right? So, all right, so step 1, sign up for Alpaca. you need to make yourself a brokerage account. Again, you could use a bunch of other brokers. We're using Alpaca right now because they're very easy to get up and running. It makes it very easy to do demos like this. But I have a big chunk of my money with Tradier, moving a bunch of money over to Interactive Brokers. So you have a bunch of different options for brokers. But again, Alpaca is just really easy to get up and running, and they're commission-free trades. So there's a lot of advantages. So let me open this up here. I'm going to put this in an incognito window. Actually, no, I don't need to do that. What am I doing? I'm going to put this into here. It's www.alpaca.markets. It is not .com. It is a .markets domain. It's like one of those new age kind of things, right? They like really want the name Alpaca. So when you come to alpaca.markets, basically you want to click the big sign up for free button to allow you to sign for free. And then here I'm going to log in, or I'm going to create an account. So here we could choose United States of America. I believe they also work in a bunch of other countries as well. I think someone out in Singapore the other day, one of our clients was using them out there. So they do have other jurisdictions, but we're going to use United States here. I'm going to put an email address in. So here I'm going to do this little trick with my emails. My regular email is rob@lumiwealth, but I'm going to put a little plus in here. I'm going to say Alpaca Demo 22. Right, and then I'm going to create a password using my password manager, which if you guys are not doing, I strongly recommend that you guys use a password manager. It is a lot better for security purposes. And there you go. So I've created my password, my first name and last name, chosen my country. And then once you do that, you hit sign up. Very straightforward, right? And then you're going to get an email. So I'm going to take a look at my email here. And I'm going to verify my account. There's a nice little confirm button. I don't know if you see that. Confirm. All right, so confirm your email. Right, there you go. Account is verified. So now I'm going to go back to alpaca.markets, and I'm going to log in with that email address. Okay, so there you go. There's my login. Continue. Success. We're logged in. They also force you to use an authenticator app or an SMS code. You could choose either one. Usually people find SMS code easier. Basically, you put in your phone number, they send you a code, so they can verify you. I'll do it that way. But the more secure version is authenticator. If you do know how to use that, I suggest they use that. That is definitely the more secure way of creating an account because people can hack your phone number. That is something. I used to work at a pretty large crypto company. And we had a lot of people trying to hack us through basically phone numbers. If you don't have a password in your phone number, you can get very easily hacked. There's a lot of stuff around it. So Authenticator is definitely recommended if you know how to use it. But even just using an SMS is still going to be quite good. So I'm going to put in my phone number here. Right, hit next. It's going to send me a text message. Just wait for that text. I think I put in my phone number correctly. Still waiting for it though. Let me try this one more time. Seems to be taking a little bit too long. 4-7 6 3 5 3 4 1 6. Okay. Still taking a while for me here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the Authenticator app instead, just so we can kind of move on from this process. Sometimes it does take a while to get these texts in. I don't know if you guys have been doing this a lot, but a lot of different companies, when they send it out, it takes sometimes we get a text like 10 minutes later. So just just to talk about speed, and also to kind of show you the other method as well. This is the Authenticator app. You'll hit activate. You need to have essentially an app that can do this. There's Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, Twilio. There's almost every major company has their own Authenticator app. I believe Apple has one too. I personally use Keeper because I like them and they store all my passwords and they do a good job for me. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to add in two-factor code. I'm going to scan this QR code and then we'll go next, and then I get a code here, kind of like what they send to your text messages. I enter in the code, I hit activate, right? Hopefully, if you guys ran this, you got in with SMS or something else. But either way, you do have both options if you want to go through that. All right. Now, once you're logged in, you'll see here in the top left-hand corner, you see paper, right? They give you automatically a paper trading account, which is just fake money, which is what we're going to work with today. We're just going to use some fake money. But if you want to use real money, you could do that. You can go through their either individual or entity, and you could go through the whole sign-up process. We're not going to do that today. That's a very long, drawn-out process. Feel free to do that on your own time if you want to. But we're just going to use this paper trading account today. We're just going to use fake money just to show you how this stuff works. Okay. So I'm going to hit home. And you'll see that my fake account here has $100,000 in it right now. All right. Cool. So when we're in here, I'm going to stop here real quick and ask you guys who has gotten this far so far. Who has an account with Alpaca? Is anyone having any trouble going through this? Are you guys having any issues? No issues, Yuri's saying. Great. Well, I'm going to check some of our other stuff. I'm going to check YouTube and see if you guys are writing in anything, or Instagram if you guys are writing anything. All right. No issues. Who was able to get this far? Who here has an Alpaca account? I have like 40 of them personally. Who here has an Alpaca account? So I know you're saying you have that. Anyone else here? I know Mahendra, I think you have an Alpaca account as well. We talked about that. Yeah, everything's pretty straightforward. I agree. Basically just want to create the account. You give them your password and all that kind of stuff. That's pretty simple sign-up process, which is why we use Alpaca, because they are quite easy to get started with. A lot of other brokers, they force you to go through this really long, drawn-out process before you get to anything, whereas Alpaca, you can start using them quite quickly, which is why we use them to demo with. All right. Cool. Okay, so once you've created this account, right, you'll see again, you can log in at alpaca.markets. You can go to home in the top left-hand corner. You can see your portfolio with some fake money. Now, what we need to do is we need to get your API keys, okay? And if you're wondering what an API key is, it's essentially kind of like a username and password so that our algorithms can connect to it. This is how we can tell it, buy this, sell that. We can understand what's inside of your account. We can actually control it with these bots. Or these bots can control it using this API key. So basically what you want to do is you want to go to Alpaca, scroll down to the bottom. On my screen, it's on the right-hand side. If you have a smaller screen, it's going to be near the bottom. But basically, you want to see something that says API keys. You want to go there and you want to click on Generate New Keys. Okay. So once you generate new keys, you'll have a key and a secret. And basically, we're going to leave this alone for now. We're going to come back to this in a little bit because we're going to need these API keys when we actually set up our bot. But for now, we have our Alpaca account. We have our API keys down here, our key and our secret, and we're just going to leave those alone. We're going to come back to it in a little bit, right? Okay, cool. Any questions about any of that? All right, cool. Okay, next thing we want to do is we want to go into GitHub. Yeah, so you're right. We do have to save the keys. For now, you can just leave the browser window open. We're going to come back to it because we're going to input these keys directly into render. So that is effectively going to be a way of saving them as well. Right? Okay, cool. So next step is GitHub, right? So GitHub, if you guys are not aware of what GitHub is, it's essentially what basically the entire world software runs on. If you work in software development, GitHub is probably something you use on a daily basis, probably multiple times a day. If you're someone who's not in software, you might think, what the heck is this thing? Well, basically, it's a way of storing code online. They store all this stuff for you. They make it really easy to do all these things. They're now owned by Microsoft. I think they got bought for like $10 billion or something crazy like that. Really, really big company and really, really good for the software world. Okay, so there's GitHub. Now, if you want to go into GitHub and get our stuff, then you can go into, again, github.com/LumiWealth-strategies, and that's where you can find all of our algorithms. If you are a subscriber, you'll have access to them. If you're not a subscriber, you're only going to see one. All right. So, and then based on your different level, so for example, if you're a starter plan member, we give you access to, I think, 4 or 5 different algorithms. If you're a pro or all access plan member, then you're going to get access to all of them. All right. Okay. Now, when you go into GitHub, you'll go to LumiWealth Strategies, and then basically you want to find this deploy to render button, right, on one of your strategies. So here is, we'll go to the beginning here. This is the LumiWealth strategy library. We'll click on this example algorithm, click on it right there. And then you're going to scroll down. You could read the disclaimer and the strategy description and all that kind of stuff here. We have a nice little guide also. This is a kind of a newer thing. So for those of you that are newer, there's a deployment guide here that really just takes you through exactly how to do all this stuff, right? If you prefer reading over a video or something like that, this is a lot of pictures. Spent some time building this out. But essentially, you just need to click on this button here. You need to click on deploy to render. Okay. You also have the option of deploying to Replit. This is something that we've used in the past. They're also a good option. However, render is a lot cheaper. It works a lot better. I find there's a lot less issues with it. So we've effectively been switching basically all of our algorithms over to render from Replit because we're just finding that people like it a lot better. It works a lot easier. It's easier to debug stuff. Like things like render just works a lot better. But you do have either option. Today we're going to cover render deployment. Okay, so click on deploy to render. Click on that button. Once you do that, you're going to get, actually, let me sign out of this here. I'm going to log out of render. Oh, whoops. Let's go back into LumiWealth strategies. Go back in here because I want to show you guys kind of the process, what the process looks like if you're new to render. Right. So here you're going to go in, deploy to render. You'll see something like this pop up. Sign in. You're going to have to create an account. So sign up to render. Sign up. Right. I'm going to log in with my personal account, which does not have anything basically set up. So I'm going to go, where the heck is my login? Render, there it is. Okay, and once you go through that, you may be prompted to, and you didn't see it here because I've already done this, but you may be prompted to say, it says you don't have access, like you won't be able to get to GitHub. You may see something like that. You're just gonna have to click on it, sign into GitHub, and it's gonna give you access to all this stuff. You go through authorization flow, which when we go down here to render, you'll see deploy to render, right? It's kind of how it looks like. And then you'll have sign up. You'll go through this verification. You'll check your email. Then essentially you'll have to tell them a little bit about yourself, right? What are you using this for? This is how I filled it out. It's not very important how you fill out these questions. And then you're going to have to put in your payment card because this is $7 a month to run this thing. It's essentially a computer somewhere in Virginia, I think, probably in a giant server farm. You get a little piece of a computer. So you do have to pay them $7 a month because they're going to run it for you. It's a heck of a lot better than running it off your computer because, what if your power goes out? What if, a storm happens, like you're in a hurricane path or something like that? There's all sorts of things that can happen. But running this in the cloud makes life a lot easier, but it does cost $7 a month. So you will have to put in your credit card information there. Once you've done that, it's going to tell you to link your GitHub, right? So you're going to click on that connect to GitHub button, right? And then this is kind of the process. You're going to log into your GitHub, authorize render, right? Kind of this typical flow. You've probably seen stuff like this before. Do the whole authorization process. You want to give it access to LumiWealth strategies, give it access to all repositories, and then hit save, right? And that way, once you've done that, you're now going to be able to actually go through the whole render process, all right? So here we go. I'm going to log out of this account. I'm going to show you in my account that I actually have for LumiWealth how this all works. So there we go. We're going to go in here and click on sample algo, click on deploy to render again, right? And once you've filled in your credit card and all that kind of stuff, I don't know why this is making me log in again. Once you've done all that, and here I need to give him my 2FA code, which is still not in here. I'm just going to find this 1 second. Render. Hopefully I saved it. I think I did. Oh, that's why I don't have it. Okay, I did not save this. Well, that's a bit of an issue. I set up sorry guys, I set up 2FA a little bit earlier today, and it looks like I have not saved that, which is a bit of a problem, but I'm going to figure this out. Just give me 1 quick second. I'm going to go through on my recovery codes. Okay, 18385 490. Okay, there you go. So now once we've gone through that, you'll see you see that you kind of get this page. Actually, it should look a little different. Let's do that one more time. We click here. We click on deploy to render, and this pops up. Perfect. Okay. So once you get to this page here, basically it's going to tell you everything you're setting up here, right? You need to give it a name. So I'll usually say, it doesn't really matter what the name is. I'll just pick, stock example Algo, just to put something in there. You don't need to change anything here, and it's going to tell you this is going to cost you $7 a month. Cool, good to go. And you click on deploy blueprint. All right. Now, when you click that button, you're going to see something like this. You basically want to click on this purple link right here, which is the actual box running with your algorithm. So you want to click on that. And then you want to pop over to environment on the left-hand corner. So a lot of people are going to miss this. So I want to do this again here, because this is one part that I think is probably the hardest part out of all of this, is you want to click on this link right here. So basically it says create background worker, and it says the name. You want to click on that, right? Because this is a blueprint. We want to actually go into the actual machine that you're creating. Okay. So I'll click on that there. And then on the left-hand side, you'll now see a bunch of different options, right? And what we want to do is we want to go into environment, right? You want to edit your environment because we need to change some of our environment variables. We need to tell it basically our API keys. This is what we want to connect to. We need to tell it basically what we want it to do. Okay. So when you get to environment, and click on edit, and there's a bunch of stuff here for you to fill out, right? Basically, we want to fill out our API key, our secret. We want to tell it, is it paper trading or not, right? Yeah, and Yuri's saying it's way more complicated than RDS in AWS. Yeah, AWS is definitely a heck of a lot more complicated. So render, this is why we use render, because it makes it very easy to do this stuff. Absolutely, I definitely agree with that. Okay, so now that we're in here, basically all we got to do is fill in these blanks, and then we're all good to go. We have a working algorithm. Okay, so let's go through filling in these blanks. First thing we want to do is we want to get our Alpaca API key. So I'm going to go into Alpaca. If you remember, we generated those keys. I'm going to grab the key from here, copy it over, put it into the value field, which is blank. We also want to grab our secret, same thing, copy that, transfer it over, right? Then we also need to fill in our live config, which is essentially the different configurations that we can use. So if we go into here, this example algorithm, every algorithm has different configurations, right? So you heard me talking before about SPY 12 versus SPY 22 and all the different versions of it. This one's the same. So if you go into this example algo, you can see in backtest, these are all the different ones, right? So we have TQQQ SPY. If you want to invest in this is basically what the backtest looks like. Or if you want to invest in TQQQ U Pro, you can see this, right? But essentially, you can pick which one you want to use. Let's say you want to use this one. You basically just need to take the name of the file, TQQQ_U Pro, grab that, copy it, and put it into your live config. So this is what it should look like. You should have your API key from Alpaca. You should have your API secret from Alpaca. True or false. If it's paper, by default, it's true. If you want to use real money, flip that over to false. Live config, you want to fill that out. It depends on the algorithm that you're using. In this case, I'm choosing to use TQQQ_UPro because that's what I want this thing to do. We have here market 24 hours. This is basically a debugging thing. You don't have to have this. If you want, you can delete it, but basically it'll allow us to see the trades even though it's after hours. It's basically tricking it into thinking that it's the market is still open right now. So that's what we have that there for. And then we have a strategy name, and you can choose whatever the heck you want your strategy name to be. All right. Okay, once you have all that, that's basically it. We're going to hit save. And then in the top right-hand corner here, go manual deploy and deploy latest commit. This basically redeploying everything. This is starting it up from scratch and using all these new things that you put in, your API keys and your config and all that. So now it's going to use all those environment variables that you set. All right, so you go manual deploy latest commit, and then you'll see this thing building. It's going to take a few minutes to build. Once it's done, you'll see this building turn into a green thing that says live. And then we can go into our broker and we could actually see this thing trade. So I'll leave this thing open here. You can see Alpaca has nothing in it. It's $100,000. There's no positions. There's no orders, nothing. And then once we see this thing actually finish running, then you'll see that some orders actually get placed. They won't get filled because it's 9 p.m. right now and the stock market's closed, but you'll see that the orders actually go in there. All right. Okay. And then let's walk through. I'm going to go through the rest of these slides here. The environment, right? Save, deploy latest commit, like I mentioned. And basically we want to wait for this thing to turn into live. And then once everything is good, we'll be able to see the orders, and you'll see that it will buy UPro and TQQQ. And we'll see that in a few minutes once it's done. All right. So we see this thing deploying. We'll let it run. Any questions about any of this, guys? Who here has an algorithm up and running right now? I know a couple of you guys that are here. I know a bunch of you guys actually have these things running too. Anyone having any trouble getting this thing up and running? Maybe running in Java in AWS environment. That will definitely complicate things. It's definitely a lot more complicated in AWS. So I'll give you that. This is why we use render, to make it a lot simpler. But you can definitely do it in AWS. We're actually adding in Docker files into all of our stuff now too, to make it easier to run with anything that's a Docker environment. So if you want to use that. Okay, so we're just going to wait for this thing to deploy. Any other questions or comments or thoughts, guys? Yeah, no problem, Yuri. Happy to show you. We're actually working on, by the way, a website to make this stuff a heck of a lot easier too. So we're pretty soon, we're going to be using Kubernetes to run, hopefully hundreds or thousands of algorithms all at the same time. So, that's kind of the path that we're going. And then once we're doing that, we're actually having a website that makes this even easier. This is about as easy as we can get until we have our own website up and running. And we're just going to make it like click a button, link your broker, and that's it. That's where we want to get to that point. Yeah, Kubernetes, exactly. Yeah, so we could basically run, thousands of them at a time. Right, that's essentially what we're looking to do. Right, because we do have a lot of people running algorithms, and the more that we can get, the more people we can get to run them at the same time, easier. We basically have three things that we care about in our company: it's performance results, or like our KPI, our main KPIs of our company are performance results. We want to have algorithms that make lots of money for people. We want to make it as easy as possible, right? So we keep improving on the ease of use factor, and then we want to just spread awareness and do advertising, marketing, that sort of thing, so that people know that we exist, right? Those are basically our three KPIs in our company, and we're constantly working on that, constantly working on better strategies, constantly working on making things easier. So we're not going to rest until you can basically do this stuff from your iPhone, click a few buttons, and you're good to go. That's where we want to get to. Okay, so I see this thing is saying it's live. It might take still a little bit of time before it starts running. So I'm going to go back over to the browser, see is it placed a trade yet? Still no. If I look under recent orders, there's still nothing there yet. So I'm going to go here. No, for some reason it's not reading. Oh, no, wait, because the new one hasn't been updated yet. So it's taking a second to deploy this new thing. It takes a few minutes to finish launching. Cool. I've got a question here from Avinash. But that may be practical for backtesting using demo count. Real money is finite. And for that dynamic switching from algo to algo would be a good feature for subscribers. You mean essentially doing that in our, I'm not sure what you mean by that, Avinash. That may be practical for backtesting using demo count. Real money is finite. And for that dynamic switching from algo to algo would be a good feature for subscribers. Yeah, Kubernetes. Yeah, I think running Kubernetes is the way to go long term, right? Because we'll basically just manage all this stuff for people, right? So we'll give you an algorithm. You can choose it. You can customize it. And then you run it on our servers. We run it for you. It'll be a heck of a lot cheaper. It'll just be included as part of the cost. You don't pay an extra $7. They'll all just be included in that, and we'll make it as easy as possible and all that. So I think that'll make it a lot simpler. We also want to make it so you can like back test stuff too, so you can like change your configurations, back test it, see if it's what you want to use, and then we're good to go. You can like hit run and just actually run it in your accounts. So we want to get it like that, super simple, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. So I see this thing running here. Looks like loaded the configuration, Let's check our broker. And there we go. We have the trades. You can see here in recent orders, it bought UPRO, UPRO, and TQQQ just now, 2 minutes ago. And as soon as the market opens, these things will get filled and we'll actually own this in our portfolio, right? So we have a working algorithm. Awesome. Fantastic. If you guys got this working too, give yourself a pat on the back. Good job. You got this algorithm up and running. Right. And, you guys are talking about this here. So not switching from one to another one, but switching it on and off in any combination. Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. With Kubernetes, a dashboard of all algo performance will also be a good feature. Yeah, that's basically what we're planning to do. Is it will be a full out website. You'll be able to go in, see how all of your algorithms are doing. That's going to be stage one of our website, by the way. Running algorithms is a lot more complicated, so it's going to take us some time to actually get that figured out. But we're hoping in about 2 to 3 weeks from now, we'll have a website up and running where you can basically just monitor your algorithms. I haven't talked about it here, but we are planning to basically make like an environment variable. You'd set LumiWealth API key. You put an API key that we give you, and then you can track it on our website. That's something that's going to be available very shortly. Hopefully within the next 2 weeks, depending on how quickly we can get that out. But we're getting pretty damn close to having that fully operational. So first thing we're going to have is we're just going to have this thing be able to monitor your algorithms. And then once we can do the monitoring part very well, then we're going to add in the part where you can actually run them, and we'll manage that whole process for you. Awesome. Very cool. All right, so we have this algorithm up and running. We see that it actually placed those trades. So let's talk about next steps. All right, so next steps. If you guys want to try running a different strategy, you can go into our strategy library. It's basically the same process. You go in, find the algo that you like, click on that deploy to render button, and then just fill in the blanks. If you want to switch brokers, I would recommend going to our deployment guide, which I'll show you here, our deployment guide. It tells you for each individual broker how you do that. So let's say we go deployment guide. You can scroll down here. There's broker configurations down the bottom. You can see on the right, it's even here. These are for different brokers. So Tradier, you want to just change your secrets to be Tradier instead of Alpaca. If you want to use Alpaca, this is what you'll do. You use those. If you want to connect to Coinbase, let's say you're trading crypto, you can use these right? API keys or environment variables. Here's Kraken, here's interactive brokers. So if you want to use any of these, it's very easy to switch between these different brokers. Right? You just have to set these different environment variables and delete the ones that you have in there for Alpaca or whatever is in there. Right? There's also other things you could set. You could set, if you wanted to send messages for you to Discord, you could do that. If you want to attach a database, you could do that. If you want to change the name, there's a bunch of other things you can do with it as well. All right. Cool. Question here. Can you provide some more info about strategies, how to make an optimization and other stuff about it? What do you mean how to make an optimization? I'm not sure what you mean by that. And Yuri, we have, if you want more information about the strategies, I'd recommend you could join our Tuesday class. That's one way that you can get that. There's a description in each one of them. We're also working on our website to have this. So if you go to lumiwealth.com and then you scroll down, you can actually go through all of our different algorithms here. So 1 second, it's loading. Go down here, see more bots. And you can go through all of our different bots. We're actually making this whole page here so that it's easy for you to see all of our different back tests, and you can see how they work. And we're adding in more and more information into here, right? So Yuri says, I'm playing with different parameters, running 1 million plus algorithms a day. Wow, that's a lot. That's pretty cool. So that's back testing. If you want to get some really detailed stuff around that, feel free to book a call with me. I can kind of walk you through a bunch of these different things here. It sounds like you're highly technical and you want to do a lot of back testing. So feel free to book a call with me. I share my link there. We can walk through all that. And also you could join us on Tuesdays. That's where we, get really in depth into each one of these algorithms, how we're building it, modifying it, all that kind of stuff. So feel free to join us on Tuesdays as well. All right, cool. Okay, so it's a strategy library. Then we also got the link. Thanks, no problem. Awesome. Okay, and then we also have our different plans. So we have actually just changed our fees recently. So our starter plan is basically a $1,000 sign-up fee and then $99 a month afterwards. We had quite a large demand for this stuff, and we don't want too many people using our algorithms, because when too many people use them, they stop working. So we raised our prices, and we plan to raise them even further soon. So if you guys want to sign up, this is your chance to get a good discount, because this soon, when we look at our competitors, they charge them like $10,000 or $15,000. That's where we're planning to get our prices up to. We just want to get our track record to show that first. But if you join our starter plan, you're going to get access to this workshop and a bunch of other algorithms. You're going to get access to our trading signals, so you can actually watch our algorithms as they perform. So here's a couple of them. There's our Condor Martingale 1. It's up 118% since June. Here's our Martingale 4. It's up 15% since June. And you can follow all these different algorithms that we have here. These are our trading signals. You'll get that as part of your plan. You're also going to get our full algorithmic trading course to teach you how to do this stuff. We have a bunch of recordings of courses that we've taught in the past. You're going to get that. You're also going to get our Python for Finance course. You're going to get our basic strategy library. And one new thing that we added to the starter plan is that you get to join us on our Tuesday live building sessions. So our Algo building sessions. This is now part of our pro plan. So if you guys are part of our starter plan, so if you join our starter plan, you can join us on Tuesdays, and you can help us basically build new algorithms, see how these things are functioning. If you have your own algorithm that you want to build out, we can potentially build that during Tuesdays. It's a very interesting class where we're just constantly building new stuff, right? So you're going to get access to that. And especially probably the best feature here is you're going to get access to our basic strategy library, which includes our diversified leverage, our Condor Martingale, and a few other algorithms that have really, really killer performances. Right? Okay. If you want to join our pro plan, that's a step up. This one is basically going to give you everything from the starter plan. You're going to get this live algo hour on Tuesday nights as well. You're going to get the recordings and the code from live algo hour, and importantly, you're going to get the full strategy library, which includes options algorithms, crypto algorithms, stock algorithms, and they all have this one-click run on render, so it's really easy to get them up and running. So if you want to get access to our full library of code, sign up to our Pro plan or better. Right? And here's a link to our Pro plan. This is definitely our most popular option that people sign up to. Right? And then you're also going to have our all access plan. This is for people that essentially want to get a lot more help. If you want us to basically spend some time with you on the phone, maybe help you build some algorithms, the all access plan is going to give you access to that sort of stuff. We have private coaching. We actually can help you build some things out. We give you access to all of our different courses. So there's a lot of stuff available there as well. Right. Right. And Yuri, if you want access to the Algo building sessions, just go on our website. I don't have it handy on me right now, but if you go on the website and you go bottom right-hand corner here, you can chat with us and you can actually reach out and we can send you the link there too. There's someone from our support will get back to you. They'll just verify your email and then send you that link. All right. Cool. Okay, awesome. So there you go. We have our starter plan, our pro plan, and our all access plan. We have a lot of really great algorithms that you can get from all that. Also, I promised you guys a coupon code at the end. So here is a coupon code that's only valid until midnight. If you guys want to use this, you want to sign up for one of our plans. If you use this code UGK4AWXR, it's only valid until midnight. So after midnight, this thing we're going to turn off. And it'll give you 25% off of our monthly fee for any of the plans. Right. So each one of these plans, they have a sign up fee and a monthly fee. This will give you a discount on the monthly fee of 25%. All right. Cool. Awesome. Any questions, guys? All right. So if you guys want to sign up again, there's a coupon code UGK4AWXR. You could use that to sign up. If you have any questions as well outside of this, feel free to go to our website. You can chat with us at the bottom right-hand corner here if you have questions about our product and that sort of thing. If you have more technical questions, we're more available on Discord. I'll share with you guys our link to our Discord. This is where if you need any kind of technical help or whatever, I'm going to show you guys our Discord link. So some questions here. So Yuri says, got all my questions answered during the session. Thanks a lot. No problem, Yuri. It's great to see you. Abel says, can we run this for a funded trader account review? Yes, you can, as long as they work with one of our partner brokers. If they're using Interactive Brokers, or they're using Tradier, or they're using Alpaca or Coinbase or Binance or any of our partner brokers, if you're using one of those, they could absolutely use this to pass a funded trader challenge. I know a bunch of people have asked about that in the past. Cool. Any other questions, guys? Cool. Yeah, no problem, Abel. All right, cool. So again, if you guys do have questions in the future, feel free to go to our website. We do have that little chat icon in the bottom right-hand corner. You can also get in touch with us through Discord. You can email us if you're on our mailing list. You can basically hit reply to any of the emails that we send, and we can get back to you that way. All right. No problem, guys. All right. Okay, it's been a pleasure. Hope you guys have a good night. It's great seeing all of you. A lot of familiar faces here. It's great. Hope you have a good night, and I'll see you. Some of you guys, I'll see you guys on Tuesday as well, next Tuesday. Right? Have a good night, guys. Oh, God.